Hi, Turkey. Happy Monday afternoon. I'm sorry that I can't be in class today, but here is your video with the instructions that you are going to need to do what you need to do today. So hopefully you guys have found your new seats, and I imagine that is going to help you know what role you're playing in our mock election, but I'm going to show you a graphic to just help you make sure that you know what you are doing. So I'm going to share my screen and just go over who's doing what. So here are your roles for the mock election. So our presidential candidates are here: Ainsley Alley Emmett, Ezra O, Lucas, Maeve, Molly O, Natalie, Sam Burr, and Sam Bly. And you guys are sitting with your campaign managers. Everyone else, Eva, Dan, Riley, and Sailor, you guys are going to be our elections officials. So depending on what role you're playing, that will determine what you're doing for the second part of class today. And when I say campaign teams, I mean the pairs of candidate and manager. Okay. So here we go. Today's work. So your first job today, if you haven't done it before coming to class, is to finish and turn in your Win the White House worksheet. So your Win the White House worksheet is your ticket to starting your campaign and doing your other work. So that should be in your social studies folder in your binder. If you've lost it, there are extra copies on the side table, which is right next to the door to come into the room and right under the posters of the different branches of government. So that's where all your materials that you're going to need today are going to be. Okay. So step one, finish your Win the White House worksheet. And turn it in. You can turn it in by handing it to my sub, or there is a bin on my desk that you can put it in right on the corner of my desk. Okay, so the next step is everyone's going to be doing research, but the elections officials and the campaign teams are going to be doing different work. So if you are an elections official, so if you're Eva, Dan, Riley, or Sailor, tune in really closely right now. So elections officials, you guys are going to be learning about the different ways that different states run their elections for picking the candidate or the nominee, excuse me, for each political party. So before you have the general election, each state gets to pick who it's nominating for the Democratic nominee for president and for the Republican nominee. And different states pick their nominee or kind of vote for their nominee in different ways. And one method is called a primary and one method is called a caucus. And you as elections officials are going to be running both kinds of elections. Okay, so first you need to learn about the differences and how they work. So you have a worksheet posted for you over on the side table, as I said, and it's titled Elections Official Research. And so you are going to be answering this series of questions on your worksheet. Everyone needs to fill out their own worksheet. You're not just working on one, but you could certainly work together. And next to each question, it tells you what sources are going to help you answer that question. So like the first one, what is the purpose of a primary election or caucus? There's the video and a PBS article. Where can you find those resources? That's a great question. They are posted on Google Classroom. So I'll show you that quickly. So on the stream, I've posted materials for everyone today. So if you're an elections official, your materials are here, materials for elections officials. Here is briefly like what you're going to be doing as your work, but here are all the resources: the video, the PBS article, a BBC article, and then a digital copy of your note catcher if you prefer to work on digital. So all your resources are going to be here posted on Google Classroom. So you're just working through as much of your packet today as you can. So let's go back to campaign teams. So if you are a presidential candidate or a campaign manager, now is the time to really tune in. Campaign teams, you are going to pick and research a school-based issue. All of the paper resources that you are going to need are, again, over on the side table. So let me show you what you're going to be doing. So again, this is after you've turned in your Win the White House paper. You're going to get one campaign overview school-based issue worksheet for your campaign team. And this is what it looks like. Okay, so you're going to obviously write in your candidate, your campaign manager. You are going to pick a political party as well. And over on the side table as well, there are these iCivics guidelines that will just remind you what issues are important to the Democrats, bloop, bloop, and Republicans. So if you're struggling with which political party you want to be, this is just a resource that you can use. Let me share my screen again. So, you also, if you also want to work on a campaign slogan, people last class were getting stuck, or people in other classes were getting stuck on the slogan. If you don't have a good slogan that comes to mind, come back to that. Okay, so maybe your school-based issue will help you come up with a good slogan. So if you've got one, great. If you don't, keep going. Then you're going to pick what school-based issue you're going to focus on. What thing in our school do you want to change? What do you think is most important to 7th graders? And then you want to explain your position on the issue. For your campaign ad, and we will go over this in more detail next class, but for your campaign ad, you are going to need to have 3 pieces of data to support your position, or like what you want to change, or your solution to a problem in our school. So 3 pieces of data. So that's why you need to research your issue. And there are several things that you can do for research today. And they are all here on the bottom of your worksheet. And you need to be able to show evidence of your research, right? So I'll be grading your work for this, right? So you need to be able to, like, here's my interview that I did, or here's my form. And the more research you do, the better. Because remember, you're going to have at least 3 pieces of data to support your position. So one way that you can research is you can poll your constituents, which means ask the people that will be voting for you what you think. So Turkey, you will be, I can't remember off the top of my head. So Turkey, your voters are Chad. So if you chose to poll your constituents, you would be creating a Google form, which is asking what people in Chad think about whatever you want to know. So it could be their position on the issue that you think is important. It could be you don't know what your school-based issue is and you want to see what they think is really important. So in order to create that Google form, you just go online and type in Google Forms and log in using your school email, and you can create a form. And most importantly, you need to share it with me, sarah.whitcarlson@fivetowns.net, so that I can post it on Chad's Google Classroom page and they can take the survey next class. Another thing that you could do is interview 7th graders in your class about their thoughts on your issue, on the change or possible solutions. and you need to record what people think on a peer interview sheet. And this is what the peer interview sheets look like. They are on the side table. So one thing that could count as a piece of data for your ad would be quotes from 7th graders about your issue. So that could be something that you're trying to get through your interview, is quotes. You can also, use some statistics, right, from your polling data, like 75% of 7th graders in Chad think blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the third thing you could do is come up with questions for Ms. Stone about your issue. So maybe you want to know how likely it is that you can change what you want to change, or know what she thinks, or know why our current policy is our current policy. If you have questions for Ms. Stone, you want to just email them to me, sarah.woodcarlson@fivetowns.net. You can also learn about policies at other schools, or just, and I should update this worksheet, learn about policies, other schools, or I don't know quite how to say it. I'll have to think about that. Learn about policies at other schools, or just do internet research. So that would just be finding out more information about your issue in general, or what is happening at other schools. And you would take notes on what you learned on the School-Based Issue Research Organizer. One thing that I have done to help you with this part, just like general research, is I have put on Google Classroom a lot of news articles from Newsela about different issues that people have been interested in thus far. So there are things in here about cell phones, because some people were telling me that they wanted to be able to use their cell phone in school. There are articles on the benefits of not having homework. There is information about school lunch, how healthy food and exercise can help kids. So there's a bunch of different articles here about topics that people have already shown interest in. So as part of your research to find data to support your position, these articles are going to be a great resource. And that would fall under learning about policies at other schools. You could also read what our current school policy is. That might be particularly important for like the dress code or homework policy. And here's a link to our school's handbook, and that's also linked on Google Classroom. And there's an index to find the different parts. So your job, campaign teams, is to spend some time finding data that you can use in your campaign ad about your school-based issue. That is your goal today. So I would say your goal today should be to, at minimum, pick your issue and find at least one piece of data to support your position. Next class, we'll go over the requirements for the ad and start looking at some real examples of campaign ads. So that is your work for today. And just to recap, materials are posted on Google Classroom. All of the paper sheets are on the side table. First, you're finishing Win the White House. Then you are going on to the research stage. And I think that is all I have to tell you guys. Feel free to email me any questions, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday morning.